You find Olivera exactly where Ankita said it would be, a ragged colony nestled in a crater on one of the biggest rocks of the Shoals. Surfing gets no response to his initial broadcasts, and so you find yourself in a docking tunnel, the rig at one end, the colony at the other, with no idea what awaits you. Need to get back on that ship and keep flying. There is in the dark tunnel a figure in front of you, holding a long gun at their hip. I'm serious. Your eyes adjust to the dark, and as they do, you see a man, no, a boy, carrying a long, dark shape in his hands. I don't know how you found us, but you need to leave right now and forget this place. Place your glance over your shoulder and see Seraphin, his hands raised in front of him in a gesture of calm. Look kid, mean no harm? How about you go run and get someone? I am someone, I'm Xander. He sticks out his jaw. It's you I don't know, I'll decide who's gonna do some harm here. Reaches across his chest and thumbs on a lamp he has lashed hair. You blink in the glare of the bright light, shielding your eyes, and as you do, you see a flicker of confusion crossing Xander's face. He meets your eye with a look of shock and opens his mouth as if to speak, though no words emerge. We have something for Karman. You notice the familiar name registers with Xander, adding to whatever confusion or question your appearance has provoked. You see his eyes taking in your sleeper body, his gun dropping a little as he takes in his attention off it. Is this... He looks between you and Seraphin. Are you here for Flint? He pulls the gun closer to himself. I'll be honest, kid, we have no idea who you are talking about. Seraphin allows himself to drift a little forward. So how about you drop the gun and we can talk like adults? Seraphin floats past you, he gives you a look that makes you nervous. Just here to deliver something. Xander? The voice echoes along the docking bridge. Xander, what are you doing? A figure appears at the end of the bridge behind Xander, a young woman clearly older than a boy in front of you. Found these two trying to sneak in, Cadence. Xander keeps his eyes on you and Seraphin as he speaks. Saboteurs, maybe? Was about to send them on their way, Xander grins. I assure you we are not saboteurs, miss. Seraphin smiles at Cadence. Cadence sighs and glides towards Xander. Stop messing around with that welder. She snatches the gun out of Xander's hand, and as she does, both of you and Seraphin reflex a flinch. Cadence looks at the two of you with a raised eyebrow and turns the gun so we can see it better. You notice the fuel tank and welding muzzle. It probably has an effective range of less than half a foot. Seraphin looks at Xander and rolls his eyes. Seriously? Cadence lowers the welder to her side and turns to Xander. That's not the time. We just got an emergency broadcast from Karman and Flint. Something happened. Xander's attitude changes immediately. He turns to face Cadence, putting his back to you, as if you had just disappeared completely. What do you mean, something's happened? I don't know. They went quiet in the shoals. All we got was a distress signal. Miss raises her hands reassuringly. Don't get excited, they probably just had a technical fault on the ship. We should check it anyway. You have to get them. Xander grabs the welder back and slings it over his shoulder. In what, Xander? Cadence sighs. They took our only functioning ship. Xander died still in pieces in the hangar. Seraphin gives you a nudge and nods towards Cadence and Xander. This is your chance. We have a ship. Xander wheels around in the tunnel, squinting at you in thought. Seraphin moves past you, approaching them. We need to see Karman, and it seems like Karman needs our help. He looks between the two of them. So how about we stop messing around in this dingy tunnel and go get your friend? Xander turns back to Cadence. Damn, really? He rolls his eyes. We're not only people on Olivera, there must be other ships. You want to go looking? They're here now. Cadence looks at Seraphin, and they are generously offering to help. She smiles sheepishly. Fine. Xander folds his arms. But I'm coming with you. Fine by us. Seraphin shakes his head and looks at you. Come on then. You both turn and head back into the ship, Seraphin whispering as you do. What kind of backwater has Ankita sent us to? He sighs. That kid thinks he's some kind of sheriff. Let's just find Karman. Seraphin nods. Agreed. What are we talking to? What are we talking about? Xander catches up with you and Seraphin. His mood seems buoyed by the prospect of boarding a ship. You wonder how often he gets to leave Olivera. Olivera. Oh, you haven't seen the half of it, Xander winks. Wait up. He Turn back to see Cadence, gliding up the tunnel. I changed my mind, I'm coming too. Cadence, come on. Xander rolls his eyes. Karman and Flynn need stacks, not a chef. What are you going to do out there? Seraphine cuts in. He always is rude with you. He gives Xander a look, shaking his head. If she wants to come, she can come, right? He looks at you. You pause, but Seraphine doesn't seem to be waiting for confirmation. You are slightly thrown off by his eagerness to be helpful. This is the first time you've actually seen him be welcoming to anyone coming on board the rig. Well, it's a lady, I mean... Xander puffs out his cheeks sulkily as Cadence smiles and glides into the ship quietly behind you all. When you get to the checkpoint, you notice Xander looking wide-eyed at the consoles and switches. Seraphine pats him on the shoulder. Oh, just strap in there, kid. Xander and Cadence find a place to settle as Seraphine buckles himself into the flight seat. Alright, he turns to Xander. Show us where to go. Straight up, okay. Just living straight up. I mean, kinda makes sense. I'm glad that I'm supplied up, because, yeah, it would have been awkward had I come there with 0 supplies. You head out into the shoals, the thick debris field that surrounds Olivera. What's happening in here, Sleeper? Bliss pokes their head into the cockpit as Seraphine brings the ship in towards the signal coordinates Xander gave him. You look around the cockpit. Xander is stepping at the copilot console mounted in front of his seat in a haphazard way while Cadence is asking Seraphine about how the rig works. Surprisingly, Seraphine is responding with patience and care. That'll help us find Karman. If you say so. Bliss looks over at Seraphine and Cadence. Is Seraphine smiling? They shake their head. Something is going on. Bliss turns back to you. Junie is working on the ship's wiring and I won't respond to my messages. She's probably in the wall somewhere, hooked up to the main line. They smile a weak smile. I'm here, so how about you tell me what we are doing out in the middle of nowhere? Quiet! Seraphine's voice cuts through the chatter. Is that... He gestures out into the debris field at a sparking, ragged-looking shape tucked beside a rock. Then rushes to the cockpit glass. Karman! A moment of tense silence grips the room. It's a ship. You and Bliss exchange concerned glances. This isn't good. Pulling her in, Seraphine's eyes are fixed on the wreck of the crumpled ship now. We don't know anything yet, so everyone calm down. Xander is silent, his face pressed against the glass. Cadence stares out at the wreck, her cheeks pale. No one speaks until the rig is brought to a stop. Alright, now we're going out there, and we'll have a poke around. Seraphine looks between Cadence and Xander. We verify the ship, and we recover the crew. Seraphine gives you and Bliss a nod, and you both push off and glide towards the back of the cockpit. Suddenly Xander pushes off from the window and glides with you out of the cockpit. I'm coming too. You need someone to identify the ship, to identify... Stops and takes a breath. Of course. Xander nods to you, tight-lipped and pale. You head to the airlock to suit up. Xander and Bliss, without any choice. Interesting, okay. Let's see. What are you? So you're Engineer and Engineering, basically same as I. Terrible rolls, Bliss. Crippled ship holes torn in its hull and the missing crew. With some thought and careful assessment, perhaps this wreck tells a story. Simplest way to find out what happened is a full search of the gutted ship, but that's no easy task when part of it has been blasted with debris. Pressurized railgun slugs embedded in the interior structure of the ship. Who did this? Yeah. Railgun slugs, huh? Closer inspection, it seems the ship's drive is totally burned out. The ship was running from something. We'll learn the next day what happened. Because I'm not going to risk it unnecessarily this cycle. Oh, no good results there. Also, can actually harvest with a guaranteed 6. That's neat. That's neat. Oh, that's a nice addition. Okay. Let's use the 4 here. You have a sense of what happened here? It's time for a difficult conversation. The search of Karman's gut ship has impacted the mood in the rig. As more and more evidence of an attack has appeared, the quieter Xander has got and the more Cadence has retreated into the bunks. Now, with the search complete, you are gathered in the cockpit to discuss what's been found. Come on. Cadence floats by the door, hugging herself against the cold. Us already. Xander is perched on the back of one of the seats, flicking at some hinged container he found in the rack. Open and close. Open, close. Plain bluntly. You tell them how it is. The ship was attacked with live weapons fire. They attempted to flee and burnt out the drive. The ship slammed into the debris field, came to rest here, crumpled and crushed. There are no bodies. At the mention of the word bodies, a shudder runs through those assembled. Then they're here, somewhere. Xander has a still look in his eyes. And we find them, whatever state they are in. With Cadence. He nods back at him. Xander is right. We aren't leaving them out here. Karman made Olivera what it is. He saved us. We won't come back without him. He shivers and looks at Xander. He would do the same for us. Based on the damage to the ship, Seraphim begins. They're almost certainly dead. We get it. Xander cuts him off. But there are debris trails leading away from the ship. I've seen them. There are. Seraphim holds his hand out in a calming manner. But those could be from secondary explosions or depressurization. We picked the wrong trail and it could lead us in circles, cycle after cycle. Then we better pick the right one. Cadence and Xander steal a look now, too. She stares directly at Seraphim, challenging him to answer back. He sighs. That's what we'll do. He looks at you with resignation. Whatever happened here, you won't believe it until you see its end. Cool. Trail. Onward trail. 3 possible trails, it's impossible to know which one is the right one without exploring them further. The danger one... There's only so much you can see from scans. Sometimes you have to explore the debris and pick up the trail from its barrens. Okay. Thanks to the mushrooms, we have time. Okay, the story the debris tells is clear. This is a dead end and the crew went elsewhere. This isn't leading us anywhere, Sleeper. His voice comes over the comms. I'm sorry, but we have to call it. Look out at the scattered debris gleaming in the sunlight. Bliss is right, this trail is going nowhere. If Karman and Flint indeed head out from the ship this way, there's no way we'll find them. And if they didn't... there are still more places to look. This interrupts your thoughts. We won't give up on them yet. Think of Xander and Cadence, and how they must feel right now. The search must continue. Search must go on. Yeah, yeah. Search must go on. Okay, a 4. Go on, baby. Yeah, energy. Oh, it's just pointless right now, but that's fine. Take the southern one. What would I... interesting. Well, here's the 4s. That's a guarantee. Let's see what the 3 does. Or 5. Control gives stress. Lovely. The story that everybody tells is clear. Okay. Caves are dark and winding, but with a sharp eye it is possible to spot a glinting shard of debris. This trail must lead somewhere. Search the caves. Forget the trail. If the caves are search comprehensive, then anyone in there will be found. Okay, so let's push it. Get a 6 out here. Structure of the caves is becoming more obvious, as are the smaller passages that might have made a perfect safe haven. Five. Come on, baby. Yeah. Not ideal. Well, actually, let's use the 4 in that case. You can take stress. And of course, you get a positive 1. Ones. Ooh, 6 and a 4 and 2 5s. So let's second go. Nice rolls all around. There. Okay, so I'll get it done with the 5. Let's use the 5s here to potentially resupply fully. Take that. I'll take that. Yeah. There's a light in the dark, flickering, fading. When the starboard trail led to the caves, a little hope was kindled in the hearts of the crew, but after plumbing the depths of these dark passages, that hope seems snuffed out. Xander has struggled on in silence, only speaking to update Cadence on the lack of news via the cockpit comms link. But he speaks now, quietly at first, and then with increasing urgency. "Light sleeper, I see a light!" And with that, he kicks off hard from the wall and darts down the dark tunnel with reckless speed. You follow, but the tunnels are winding, and you quickly lose Xander around the corner. You come from the same wall, trying to close the gap, but then you come around that same corner, you can't find Xander anywhere. And then you see it, through a thin slit in the cave wall, a flickering, fading light. You cross over to it and see scratches and chunks scraped out of the rock. Someone has dragged something through here. Contact Xander. You click your comms to Xander's channel and call out to him. Nothing but static and silence greets you. A flashing red light on your comms panel suggests the signal isn't getting through. You push away some of the floating rock and squeeze yourself into the gap. As you do, you watch the light pulsing inside the cave, setting the cracks and shapes of the rock in sharp relief. You search those shadows for something recognizable, but the light source remains out of sight. And then you are through. You steady yourself against the wall and look towards the light. There, beside a fading emergency lamp, floats a body, its head instantly striking you as strange and misshapen. You know immediately this must be Karman. His head is shrouded in an emergency helmet inflated around him like a balloon, while an oxygen canister floats nearby, attached by a tube. He's still alive. His eyes are closed, his body still. You try to settle your gaze on his chest to see the telltale rise and fall. And then the light catches something else, something broken and skeletal nearby, a face with bright eyes watching you. A sleeper, another sleeper. They watch you with lit irises, ones just like yours. Their torn face reveals no emotion, they pose crouched, coiled even, like a sprint, ready to strike. Quiet and desperate sleeper. And design. You are both frozen, unsure, afraid, nothing moves. Their eyes trace the damage to their suit, to their body. They look broken, worn down, and you wonder if this is how you look to others, if they flinch when they see you, as you feel the need to know. As you feel the need to, now. Karman! Xander's panicked voice cuts through the silence, rushes forward to the floating body, and as he does, the other sleeper pulls away from the wall like a statue coming to life. For a moment, you go to intervene to save Xander from the skeletal figure. The sleeper falls on Xander to embrace him, and Xander returns the hug. You float, stunned, watching as Xander begins to carry Karman's body from the cave, with Flint, the sleeper, guiding him. Karman is stable. Cadence comes out from the room that has become a makeshift medbay. Looks between you and Seraphin. Thanks to you. Flint? Cadence pauses, choosing her answer carefully. Flint is in there with Karman. They seem to be functional. He looks away. That's what you mean. We should head back to Olivera. Seraphin cuts in. He places a hand on your shoulder and steers you away towards the cockpit. Once you are out of earshot, Seraphin turns to you. Did you know Flint was a sleeper? No. Turfy nods. He pauses. I don't want to be suspicious, I was just surprised, that's all. Turfy glances back towards the medbay. They look, different. What do you mean? I don't know. It's just something I wish they'd mentioned. I'll go get her started up. He pats you on the shoulder and heads to the cockpit. Let's just keep an eye on them, okay? Leaves you floating in the corridor, unsure what to think. Flint is the first sleeper you have met since you escaped the program, and at this point those memories are little more than fragments and fictions. As the rumble of the drive runs through the ship, you can't help but feel a little concerned for what this might mean.